much about Jack Black. Let's move into our first Mount Rushmore, and that is our Mount Rushmore of Jack Black. And I don't think we can say that Shallow Hal is a consensus pick, but do we want to say that there? I don't think we want to say there is one right now, or do we? It's so much better to have that conversation after.
Okay.
Let's do that. All right, so I'm gonna go. I think I know which direction Zach's gonna go, so I'm gonna go to Todd first. And
so many
Todd,
directions.
There are many directions. So Todd, what's your submission to Jack Black's Mount Rushmore?
So I think the role that he is most perfectly fits Jack Black and everything that he does well is Kung Fu Panda. If you're ever going to cast a panda, Jack Black is your number one and only choice. And it's his humor in that really makes those movies. There's three of those things, and probably video games and everything. It's because Jack Black's in it. And I think that is like one of the defining roles of his career.
Yeah, I would never pick that. And yet I totally respect it. I absolutely 100% agree with you that I couldn't imagine any other voice in that role. He's perfect in it.
And that, Loki, that's what I was going to say too. I was going to say Kung Fu Panda because I thought we were going to go in a different direction there. Okay. So Todd says Kung Fu Panda. I'll go next and probably go with like all of our potential favorites, and that's School of Rock. I think nothing said. I mean, that wraps Jack Black like into just if you want to know what Jack Black is all about,
that's
you just watch
Belushi
School
role.
of Rock. That is the Belushi role for sure. Yeah, Dewey Finn is just. I mean, that's him at his most manic, but his most clever. Working with the group of kids, and it brings out his musical side too. That's Jack Black at his finest and at his peak, and there's nothing more Jack Black than School of Rock. So that's my pick. So Zach, tell us a little bit more about Bernie.
Well, first of all, I was going to pick the School of Rock if no one picked it. I think that is his greatest performance because it's the most challenging role of any of them, and it's his highest war also. But Bernie's a great performance too because it's a role that incorporates drama and pathos. And also, you look at this guy, Bernie Tita, and you wonder, like, is he all there? We don't really know his motivations. Is he just this guy with a heart of gold who genuinely wants people to like the Shirley MacLaine character? Or is he just a money-grubbing manipulator? And we're never really sure. He always kind of... he leaves us. There's a distance between the viewer and him, and yet at the same time, I really sympathize with him. It's a great performance, and it makes me think that Jack Black could also really do drama if he tried. Now he has done a few quasi-dramatic roles. He was really good in this movie called Jesus' Son. It was one of his smaller roles right before High Fidelity. But I would love to see Jack Black branch out into more dramatic roles because I think he can do virtually anything.
All right, so we've got Kung Fu Panda, we've got School of Rock, we've got Bernie. What's going to be our consensus pick here now?
The other ones I wrote down were Shallow Hal, Be Kind, Rewind, which I think is a really underrated movie, and Margot at the Wedding, which is not a leading role, but that is his best acting.
Yeah, he's good in that. I would have to go with High Fidelity, but it's kind of the same role as School of Rock, so I would understand if we want to take it in a slightly different direction.
It's similar, but he's definitely like it's showing him early on as kind of a supporting character. You could throw High Fidelity and the Cable Guy kind of in that same mix of just supporting character, really interesting guy that you remember from it. Let's see here. What else did I write down?
Tropic Thunder. Is someone going to mention that? Tropic
Thunder. I mean,
that could be his best movie overall.
It could be his best movie, but I don't know. He's kind of distracting in it.
Yeah, it's not his best work.
It's not his best thing. Everyone always craps on King Kong. I don't think he's that bad in King Kong. Again, it's not one of his best. The one thing I wrote down that hasn't been said yet, he's really funny in the Muppets as himself. I don't know. It's just a funny role, and it's kind of goofy and silly, but I'd go High Fidelity over that.
He also punted Baxter in Anchorman.
He did punt Baxter. The bad man punted Baxter.
Hit him in the head with a burrito.
And I think there is something to be said about Jumanji. I mean, that is the the current Brooklyn Nets of who's who of great comic talents. But he holds his own in that movie for sure, and he's hilarious in it. I mean, him as having the brain of a teenage girl. I mean, I would watch that every time. Give me more of that.
All right, so what are we going with here?
I would personally go with High Fidelity. I understand Margot at the Wedding, though, because I need to rewatch that movie, but I remember he was the most impressive in that movie.
Yeah, I would need to rewatch Margot at the Wedding as well. So with knowing that, my vote would probably be High Fidelity as well.
Which didn't even make Todd's list.
I know. I would vote probably Be Kind Rewind.
See, that's another one I need to rewatch. It's been way too long since I've seen that one. I remember I liked it, though.
I remember Mos Def being pretty good in that movie, too.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like High Fidelity a lot. I've only seen it once, but it is a supporting part for him, so that's why it wasn't one that I was really going for.
It's a supporting part, but come on. I mean, he's like coming off the bench draining threes. I mean, he's the Robert Horry of that movie. He's the big shot Jack, He is like... every moment that he's on that screen, it radiates him, and it's a really high WAR performance.
After watching High Fidelity, I mean, he's really basically playing what Lester Bangs is in Almost Famous. Like, after watching that, Philip Seymour Hoffman based his role on
It's the same year.
High Fidelity. Yeah, true, but I feel like they're kind of the same.
I don't know if I can say I can ever think of another character quite like Barry in that movie. I can think of people in real life who are like Barry, but I can't think from the cinematic universe anyone who's quite like that. I mean, listen, when we meet Barry, he's blasting on I'm Walking on Sunshine, and he's making fun of Rob's music choice. And then he makes fun of Rob's girlfriend's mother dying. I mean, he is like all over the place. He's a wild man. And then he actually plays music at the end of the movie. I don't know. I think it's a great performance, but I'll go with whatever.
I mean, we could say that, I guess.
Yeah, let's go with that.
2 out of 3. Hey, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
I am going to throw out there, there is a movie that is currently in post-production on his IMDb page that I'm now really looking forward to that's supposed to come out this year. It's called Apollo 10.5.
It was on my Oscar predictions for next year. Yeah,
written and directed by Richard Linklater, starring Zachary Levi, Jack Black, Glenn Powell, and it's a coming-of-age story set in the suburbs of Houston in the summer of 1969, centered around the historic Apollo 11 moon landing.
Can we just already say this is the Almost Sideways most anticipated movie of 2021?
Seriously,
let's have them put it on the posters, okay? Wow,
Rick,
I'm there.
Black, space. I mean,
well, Jesse Plemons in a Scorsese movie that's number one, right?
I think this is number one.
De Niro, DiCaprio, and Jesse Plemons in a Scorsese movie. That's number one, and there's no number two.
I'd rather see Jack Black on his way to the moon in a Rick movie.
As Stefan would say, this film has everything. Yeah. Anyways, all right. So there we go. So our Mount Rushmore is Kung Fu Panda, School of Rock, Bernie, and High Fidelity.